Have you ever struggled when you see a military veteran and you want to thank them for the service and the sacrifices that they've made to keep our country safe? Regardless of the fact that according to 2019 statistics, 40% of service members do not see combat, the lifestyle is dramatically different than the average American workforce. And yet there's still that haunting number. Every day, an estimated 22 service members take their own life. Even I didn't know of the term moral injury that regularly defines why these soldiers have the issues that they face in the first place. My guest tonight saw this both during her time as an intelligence officer and during her transition to civilian life, and she decided that she wanted to take some action and do her part to support these individuals personally. Shelley Root is creator of Others Over Self, a nonprofit that's designed to support veterans with the belief that all people should be putting the needs of others over their own. We discuss her history in the armed forces, the best way to thank a veteran for their service from the eyes of a veteran, and the ideas behind the philosophy of Others Over Self that aims people to be a value add to everyone that they interact with. Your organization is called Others Over Self. Can you explain what the purpose is and what exactly you all do?
Absolutely. I love teaching. I love the messages moving through me that really help lift up and encourage others. And when we first started, we had these shirts made and they say Others Over Self. And it's really this idea that the needs of others are always going to be more important than your own. And a lot of times when you're in that deep, dark space in your mind and it's all about you, sometimes the best way to get out of that is just go serve somebody else.
What exactly does an intelligence officer do? I'm sitting there thinking like Jack Bauer. Are you Jack Bauer?
Well, I can't tell you, can I? Easiest ways to think about it is we help the commander make the decisions. We put together briefings and recommended courses of actions. And we say, sir, ma'am, here's how we think you should make the decision. And then it's up to them to make the decision. But those are hard decisions. Sometimes it's about the timing of the patrols. And if you pick the wrong time, if you make the wrong recommendation, then people's lives are at stake.
Your faith has interacted with your military service dramatically. Were you a believer in Jesus during your service, or when did you?
No. I was raised Catholic and we were in church every Sunday, and I always believed in God. I just think even if you create, right? Oh, we create, we're scientists, we're artists, we create something. Well, what did you create it with? There's always, there's this basic level that you're always already given something. You're given oxygen, you're given nature. You already have been given a gift at the very, very beginning. To me, the existence of God was completely and absolutely undeniable. The Jesus piece, however, was this huge, it was a joke for a while. It was a question mark for a while, but it took me a lot of years to get there. And it wasn't after years of being in a very, very unhealthy and abusive relationship and trapped in a marriage and having a child myself and kind of witnessing what it means to set aside your life for other people.
What's your testimony?
I had to be won over the hard way. It was a Catholic church in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. And for the very first time, the way that the priest explained how Jesus came down from heaven to teach us humanity on a level that we could understand what the goodness of God was. I am telling you, if there ever was a light bulb moment, it was like, now I get it. That makes absolute and total sense, right? Because how can you explain to an ant what a human being is? How in the world could God explain to us what a God is? He can't. And so there has to be something in the middle that eases that.
When you leave the military, you get this DD-214 form. It's like an exit form, basically. That's like your report card of what you did in the military. But that's it. They don't give you any other plan. It's like you're on your own now. It's kind of like when you have a baby, and I'm amazed that they just let me take my baby home. What was your exit from the military into civilian life like?
You know, thank you for asking that, because I think there is this stereotype that someone's either in the military or out of the military. And in the world that I live in, that's not the case. When I officially got the disqualified statement from National saying that I could not re-enlist, has been so deep and heavy in my heart. It feels like something that Shelley really wanted so bad, and she was so convinced that God wanted this for Shelley, right? But the truth of the matter is, no matter how hard I want to fight it, that's not what God wants for Shelley.
These are the 3 rules for thanking a veteran.
If you're going to say it has to really be from a place of service. I really want to encourage that you carve out 5 minutes to have an honest conversation with whoever that person is. I want to caution you about 3 big issues, and the military loves acronyms. We're going to go with PRY, P-R-Y. The 3 big issues to stay away from. Number 1, you don't talk politics. You don't push a political agenda. Number 2, P-R, R stands for religion. This is the chaplain telling you, stay away from forcing a religious viewpoint. The Y, PRY, and Y stands for yourself. If you're going to honor a military person, don't focus the conversation on yourself. You have a grieving period after you divorce, and it's hard. I just got a call out of the blue from one of my Army buddies from many, many years ago, and he said, my wife and I are thinking of splitting up. I think he was looking for validation for me. Now there's a complication. She's pregnant, and we're thinking about aborting the child so that we can just have a clean slate. They have a lot of money. They could have given such an amazing life to this child. And here I was, divorced, single mom, struggling for food to put in our mouths. And I couldn't handle it. But the words came out of my mouth, give me the child. To me, the thought of this incredible, beautiful human being who could have had this amazing life of privilege in a beautiful country with beautiful opportunity, for that to be stripped and taken away from them is just nothing but wrong. But God spoke through me and said that. And I'll just share with you now, to this day, I see them on Facebook. They're still married and they have a beautiful daughter.
What are your thoughts on
Abortion is a really hot issue for women, for men, for everybody. And as a woman of empowerment, I fight the line of fist in the air, smash the patriarchy. I love strong women. My friends are fighter pilots. My friends drive tanks. We're not the babysitters of the youth. And so when we think about women's rights and we put abortion and the right to kill a baby inside of that, there needs to be a voice from the inside, from the strong woman perspective, saying, no, that is wrong.
One talk could save a life.
I think that's my purpose in life, is to break through the surface conversation and have meaningful conversation. There's too much social media. There's too much masking. There's too much, yeah, I'm fine. I'll get through it. And especially in the military side of things, the suicide rate is undeniable. The risk of a military person dying by suicide is typically double that of the civilian population. And these are the strong ones. These are the heroes. So I believe that it really does come from individual heartfelt conversation. And it's not easy, but it can be 5 minutes. It can be when you sit down and just ask somebody, I heard you say that you're okay, but you don't look okay. Is there something else you want to talk about?
PTSD versus
So PTSD is trauma. And typically there's a fight or flight response. With our veteran population, only 8 out of 100 veterans have a PTSD diagnosis. A dear friend of mine shared that when he was deployed, he was pulling security. And the area that he was pulling security on was essentially a crater, a pit where they threw the bodies. And the dogs would come and feed. And could you imagine just day after day of standing there and that's your security duty? That's not PTSD. There's no one moment of trauma that you can attach to that. But you can't tell me that as a human being, that's not going to haunt you for years and years. And so within the last few years, they have come out with something called moral injury. This is what happens before PTSD. This is not trauma-based. You have a moral injury if you are a part of a situation or you witnessed a situation where something occurred that is so against your moral beliefs that you feel hurt by it. One project that our company works on is something called Warriors with Warriors. And what we do is connect people of faith with military people. We're teaching you how to have these meaningful conversations because even the federal government recognizes the power that people of faith have in being able to influence positive mental wellness amongst society. Are you shocked that the soldiers that you meet don't look like Captain America? I truly wish that every single service member was a Captain America. I was wearing a red, white, and blue bikini one time, and I had just done a bodybuilding show, and my mom was like, oh, Shelley, you look amazing. You look like Miss America. And I said, Mom, you mean Captain America? But I do. I wish so much that we had just those higher standards for ourselves.
You mean all of our service members aren't issued a big American shield?
Right? I know. Yeah, and not the like beginning of the movie Captain America, the one at the end who realizes that like he's really not meant to be a political ploy.
Yeah, the military's really got to step up their promo materials. You know what I mean? Like.